I definitely agree with many things as far as principles and fundamentals about gold and silver, real assets, copper, agriculture, crude oil, and that versus the fiat currency. The fiat currency is going down. But there's always one commonality that seems to be pervasive amongst the internet. People are looking for solutions against big monopoly business. And this isn't really nothing new. I just had to take this ancient image from some caricature of Standard Oil back from the turn of the century. I doubt if this is copyrighted anymore. But it's something that is been fought against for like a gazillion years. And at the time, people were familiar with farming. At the time, even into the 30s, when you had the Great Depression, people knew how to farm and they knew how to make their own food. But I am driving home at a point. If you really want to destroy the elite without destroying them, without killing them, the way to do it is through agriculture. And the one plant to really farm and sow the most is industrial hemp. Industrial hemp. That will destroy crude oil. That will destroy pharmaceutical industry in many respects, because the hemp oil is extremely medicinal in many aspects. They hate this. They hate, well, I shouldn't even say they. It's anybody that wants an easy money racket, which can be anybody from the middle class. It could be anybody from any echelon of wealth. There's always somebody that wants to jump into that easy money, or I got a racket and I don't have to do anything. But the real answer to mankind's problems is industrial hemp. I love this answer because anybody can do it. It's nothing that's monopolized. And this is why John D. Rockefeller hated it. He hated the competition from the farmers with the alcohol sales for the cars. So he gave $4 million, I said that before, $4 million to the women's suffrage movement to ban the sale of alcohol and manufacture of alcohol in this country, so he could have the entire market for gasoline, no competition from the alcohol sales from grain grown by farmers. And he got prohibition passed. Same deal with hemp. Hemp in 1937 became the easy to produce from the plant, where they had a machine like the Eli Whitney cotton gin was to cotton. They had another machine that could take and process the hemp fiber from the plant very easily. Big problem for the big industries that have a racket. The thing with hemp is anybody can grow it. Anybody. That makes people independent. If you look back in history, even going back to the Romans, before there was even a Roman Republic, it was the individual citizen soldier farmer that was totally independent that was the real backbone of the republic. They granted power to the government because they were independent. The government couldn't do anything against them. They granted power to the government. And the way you really have it that way is you have to be actually autonomous. This idea of growing hemp is actually the answer to many things. The greenhouse gases, the pollution, the industrial waste, the landfills with plastic, the plastics floating in the oceans, all the garbage. And you know what? They don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this. So, the deal is, you got them by the cojones when you're telling them this. But you can't just reason with them. You got to play rough. And I'm saying is not to do anything wrong, but you got to play as aggressively as they are playing. It's not like they do understand. The thing is, this is what you get. This is the elite today. It's like this Standard Oil. It's an octopus. They're involved in everything. They're involved in energy, the money supply, the fiat money supply, the pharmaceutical industry. Everything that we use for communications, even that. Everything. So, the industrial hemp plant actually is the most important thing you could possibly do. And, they're showing this as cannabis, but, I guess that's what it's called too. But the hemp seed oil, big time for, yes, it could be used in paints, varnishes, and everything, but it's food, and also it's medicinal. Um, I know this particular chart is kind of lame in a way. I don't really like it because it goes into some of the uses of hemp, and there's a heck of a lot more uses out there for hemp as it is. Now, yes, consumer textiles, that's a big industry, and it's much better, far more superior products are made from hemp than they are from cotton. It's very protein rich, but you know what? I think one of the bigger things out there, it would replace plastics. Plastics are filling up the landfills. You'd actually have better plastics that are 10 times stronger than steel, made from hemp. Now, to process these plastics, it would require a hell of a lot less pollution and smelting. You know, like they exported all the steel factories over to China, got them out of Pittsburgh, but you know that doesn't solve the global pollution problem, if there is one or not. I mean, whatever. But say there is, the way to actually stop the global pollution problem is grow industrial hemp. What is it doing? It's putting more oxygen in the air. It's greening things, right? I mean, how could it be bad in any respect, you know, other than the pocketbooks of crude oil, plastics, DuPont chemicals, and whatever else is out there? You know, I know it's got a bad rap because of the the THC content. You know, actually, even that is like, I don't smoke the stuff. I don't get into like any of that type of stuff. But you know, even so, I mean, any rational person can see that hemp does not make people do crazy things like when you're on alcohol. That's quite true. And now I am saying this from a person who never used it. I never smoked marijuana, period. Now I'm saying this because I can think. So I'm not coming at it from a person that says, oh yeah, I smoked weed all my life and, you know, never did anything. No, I'm saying is, you know, quite obviously you could see that alcohol could actually make a person more violent in some cases. You know, it depends on the person. But cannabis doesn't, or hemp or whatever. You know, it's just, and I'm not even, you know, what I'm arguing for is not even the marijuana plant. I'm arguing for industrial hemp, which is not the marijuana plant and has hardly any THC in it at all. Now, I want to actually even look at this when we have hemp clothing. Hemp clothing is far superior to cotton clothing. Now, the other thing is, hemp can be grown a lot easier than cotton. It takes a lot less pesticides. It grows a lot faster. Everything. It actually requires less fertilizer. And look at the price of cotton. It went up like, you know, 7 times during the QE. So why can't people grow hemp in the United States? As a matter of fact, industrial hemp, I heard, is growing wild in places like Nebraska because it grows that well. So some of the seeds are over there. But if you went to grow that where it grows wild and you actually put that on your property to try to make money off it or something, they would say it's illegal and the drug enforcement agency would be after you. And I'm not even talking about marijuana for pain. I'm talking about industrial hemp. And you know what's going on with this garbage? It is the racket that has been perpetuated by mainly the crude oil industry and the chemical industry and the pharmaceutical industry since the turn of the century. And you know, people have been trying to fight this, but you know, I really kind of blame the middle class many times because they are a bunch of lemmings. And it's not until there's a real problem, it's like they all jump on the bandwagon with the pitchforks and garbage and they try to do something about it. But then it's too late. But you know, I like this particular aspect even for just clothing, you know, hemp clothing, right? Pesticides, that's an important thing. You know, look at cotton. Look at the pesticides needed. Practically none for hemp. So what happens with the industrial runoff, the pesticide runoff into the table, the water table, or into the rivers? You don't have any because you're hardly using any or you're using none. There's no herbicides required and hardly any pesticides. Hemp grows very well. Now, in the case of cotton, you need all kinds of stuff. Production per acre, 300% more warmth of the clothing, 400% better water absorbency, and strength 300% higher. The clothes last longer, and the performance is way over cotton. Way over cotton. Now, I don't know what the deal is, because if I was even a cotton manufacturer, I'd be trying to get into this product first. If it was legal, I think that's the problem. If it was legal, and say I was in the agricultural business and I was farming cotton, if I was allowed to, I would immediately go over to this hemp product, because I'd like to be the first one out there, and I could actually charge a premium for the product because nobody else had it that much, and I'd be offering it. It's not that easy to get hemp clothing today. You could buy it on Amazon and things like that, but it's not that easy. It's not widely available on the box stores like your Walmarts and stuff like that. But, it's far superior. But the biggest thing is the fuel crunch. They talked about, getting ethanol from corn, and I can get on that subject more detail. Like you can actually use the same corn for fuel, and the other part of corn that is not used for fuel could actually feed cattle. So it's not like you're taking fuel away from the food supply. I want to interject that. But hemp will produce way more fuel than corn, and hemp grows with less fertilizer, grows faster, and it requires hardly any pesticides, if any, and no herbicides. So why aren't we using it? Because there's a conspiracy by the oil industry. There is a conspiracy. How would you go into production with oil as an individual? What are you going to do? Go find a claim out there 5,000 feet in the deep depths of the Gulf of Mexico and go through the EPA or whatever the heck you have to do and get a billion-dollar oil rig and start pumping the oil out? Individuals can't do that. So they got a racket that only they have. So, with hemp, anybody can grow it. I call this the actual economic solution to not only the United States, but the whole entire globe. And this is coming from a non-weed smoker. I want to actually state that. I never even smoked this stuff, period. Not that I got anything against anybody, but I swear, there's so many people, as soon as they hear about this stuff, the ultra-conservative types or whatever, they seem to turn off because they immediately hear about hemp. They associate it with drugs. And keep an open mind about that. Hemp is about a product that can replace the use of most of the crude oil that we need in this country. It can be very cheap, renewable resource that's not going to run out. It requires sunlight and water, things in nature that keep recycling. Besides fuel, it makes better clothing. It grows faster. It makes better food. It's better than soy. It's a better protein than soy. It's a better oil than even flaxseed oil. It actually has a lot of medicinal purposes. It can fight cancer and destroy the cancer industry. The American Cancer Society give to us. I really can't stand any of this garbage anymore, because what I see is, everybody needs perpetual research, so they always look for more dollars. Well, the research is done. We have the answers. One of the answers, even against cancer, is hemp. And I like the idea with the gold and silver to preserve wealth, but actually, if you're looking for a real solution to 90-something% of the problems that are facing mankind in the globe, it is this plant called industrial hemp.